mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad. Your mom and dad.
Well, welcome home, family. It's your mom and dad.
Isn't it a beautiful day to have a beautiful day?
It's a great day to have a great day.
It's a great day to have a great day.
Sometimes I'm not the book that someone should be reading, and that's okay.
Yes.
Guess what? I'm not your cup of tea to be drinking, so don't effing drink it.
Yes.
Amaya Papaya.
Does she come up with these on her own? Like, or are they pre-written for her? Does she use ChatGPT or something to get these?
I don't know, but even if she does, she makes them her own because Amaya Papaya is truly the voice of our generation. Amaya Papaya is the poet we deserve. Seriously, when she gets off Love Island, she needs to write a book, like a coffee table book, of daily meditations.
Ooh, I like that.
Papaya Proverbs.
Yeah.
Papaya Proverbs. So every day you just get a little nugget of Amaya wisdom and positivity. Papaya positive Proverbs.
Oh, I like that. All slightly mispronounced.
Yeah, all slightly a little off.
Just slightly a little off.
Just slightly. They're just a little bit off.
Just a little off.
No, I swear I have been quoting numerous of Amaya's quotes and of course singing I never said I was perfect to our daughter every day. Ember has no idea where these come from, but Ember's been in Tech Week. She has a show coming up, which is very exciting. So she's super busy.
Yes.
So in the morning, I've been delivering papaya positivity to her, and it really is making a difference. So she's singing the song. We have that papaya energy going. So I really think that Amaya needs to put out a book.
You know what's super interesting about her is just... First of all, I want to know what it's like to be here for a day, to just experience the radical shifts in experience. Yeah. Where it's 1 minute you're bawling like you've never bawled in your entire life. Mm-hmm. And the next you're because she kept saying something I woke up today and I'm ready to take over the world. And so her,
so beautiful.
Her human experience, she's feeling all the edges.
She's so dynamic.
She's scraping the edges of the experience. Most of us are in the middle, kind of not too excited, not too. She's feeling everything. She feels
everything, and it is one of the most beautiful things I have ever seen. And clearly, America agrees because I was legitimately crying when they did the game. What was it called? Hate to Burst Your Bubble game.
Oh, yeah.
And Amaya swept.
Yes.
When she swept the top for everything in the love of America, I was legitimately crying because I was this woman deserves the world, and she has been through it in this villa. Yes. She just got off all these men being so terrible to her. Mm-hmm. She's crying, she's working it out, but she's still here for everyone in the villa. She's still trying to find her love and her experience, and to be struggling so hard in the villa and having all these people be unkind to you, and then to find out that America is obsessed with you and you have no idea is the warmest hug I've ever felt. Watching that was just so beautiful.
And then be dating 3 guys. You went from being rejected by every guy to then at the end, America loves you, and you had 3 guys.
You're juggling 3 men. It was so
it was a redemption,
fantastic.
A true redemption story.
But it was a redemption story that wasn't even a redemption story.
Redemption
because
was
America's been
wrong,
obsessed with her this entire time, but she didn't know.
Right.
And so her experience, once she leaves this villa, is going to be mind-blowing.
Yeah.
She's going to step foot back here, and it's the crowds of people to just want to get a peek at Amaya Papaya, it's going to blow her mind.
Brian, if you hurt her.
Oh, Brian, if you hurt her.
Brian, you got to understand, you don't realize because you're not watching the show, but you got to understand that what
Brian.
you have just done by kissing her a bunch and showing her the most love she's experienced.
Yep.
You're holding a precious diamond.
Yes, the world's most precious diamond.
And you better watch your steps.
Oh, yeah.
Because one wrong move, and it's going to be a world of hurt.
I really have high hopes for them, Evan.
I gotta say, I really have high hopes because it originally didn't come from him like
finding out that America was obsessed with her.
Yeah, or hitting on her or anything. It came from him protecting her during the game and saying, hey, you guys need to chill out. So it was like he started with standing up for her.
Yes.
It wasn't like a kind of, let's be real, the Elan and the Zak. It was like at the end, actually, I do like you because I'm going to get, I'm going to leave the island if I don't like you. So you could call into question there, but she showed up before that. So,
and I feel like in their conversation, they see each other and like he's down for how lovey-dovey she is right off the cuff. Like I have high hopes. And again, if you break her heart, it will be the rage that will be experienced. The ripples through America will be wild. Side note, in one of these episodes, we found out that Amaya is a nurse. I will be flying to New York once Amaya is off the island, and I will like purposefully break a finger just to try to get in with her in the hospital. Like I'll break a bone every day to try to show up and see if Amaya will be my nurse, because the second she said that she was a nurse, all that I could think about was like imagining her in the setting of how beloved I'm sure she is, like by all the nurses and doctors, or like it's like sweet Amaya Papaya. And I just pictured her, I don't know where she works in the nursing field, but for some reason I pictured her working with like elderly people and just like all these older men being like, she's the light of my life when she comes in and treats me like a king.
But I at the same time, I do feel like her experience in life is just like the villas. You know what I mean? Like it's nothing but just positive and then fun, and then someone's like, you're a little too much, and then bawling and then crying, and then people holding her, and then the person says apologies, and then she goes, it's okay, we're the best now, we're best friends forever now, you're not my, and then it's just how, you know what I mean? When someone's so genuinely themselves, you're like, this is how she is in the villa, and her experience in the villa is probably almost identical to every part of her life.
But can't you picture like elderly people being like, that's the light of my life?
Yeah.
Like going in and seeing her and her, like getting them set up. Oh my gosh.
She's one of one.
I'm
There's
getting
no
in there.
question about it.
I'm getting into that hospital or doctor's office. It will happen.
God, she's
but
funny.
there were numerous couples that sprung from these episodes.
Yeah, it was a big love bloom.
I was very excited about, because we've been in this space where it's like, how is this even going to end?
Yeah.
Nobody's connecting. I don't really feel anything with like the certain couples that are there. I'm not feeling invested. But then we got Bryan and Amaya. Yeah. And then we got Pepe and Iris, which I am here for.
Which is super interesting too, because it was like the whole thing that happened, with what's her name? Graceyn. I was getting the vibe that he might leave, and if he doesn't leave, he's just kind of ride it out and leave. But the fact that like less than 24 hours, the Iris thing happened, showed that they must have kind of been subconsciously vibing.
Well, like they were both saying, there was always an interest in like a friend connection way. Right. And so it's like the friendship might be winning out here and turn into something romantic. I am here for the Pepe and Iris situation. I'm very excited about that. And speaking of, we have the return of NicOlandria.
I mean, guys,
listen. We have the return of NicOlandria, which...
This episode will be dropping... So we're missing one episode because we're dropping the episode in the morning. So basically, when you're listening
to this, one more episode will have come out. So we are an episode behind. Today we're covering episodes 27 through 30. Right. So we're one episode behind. So who knows what happened in the episode that just dropped.
But either way, it's just the fact that like... And I do agree with them kind of being like, the universe just kind of weirdly keeps bringing us back together. And it's like, it's kind of true. And the fact that like... they're immediately pursuing it too. It's not even like I don't know. It's like it just shows that there's something there. Obviously, Nick's very passionate about it.
Well, like we said too, when she kind of pulled away a few episodes ago, we were like, well, we felt like Nic was still down and interested, and she's the one who pulled away. But now that it's just them, the connections are gone. We've made way for NicOlandria, and are we going to have numerous love stories like a Pepe Iris and a Nic and Olandria where friendship ends up being it's the long game to the very end,
because
and maybe it ends up
see how they work, they see how they move
Right.
in other relationships. You get a real view. You get an unadulterated view of like, oh, they're not kind of acting a certain way to get my attention. They're not this, they're not that. I've actually seen them in action.
Right.
And it proves to me that I can trust this person. So very interesting.
Very interesting. And also, of course, Nic became available because of Cierra getting removed from the villa, which we are going to talk about later. It's just so horrific. We're going to talk about Cierra. But we got a few episodes to cover.
Yeah, I'm
here.
excited.
Some big things went down.
Yes.
So let's get into it. Let's just dive right in. But first, family, we got to take a quick pause. So it's official. The world wants an Amaya Papaya fan club, okay? A literal building to come and celebrate Amaya. We must build it and we must furnish it with the best, most beautiful furniture we can find. So obviously, we'll be using Article. Article.com, baby. Article has been our favorite place to get indoor and outdoor furniture for years because not only are the pieces absolutely gorgeous, but they're also high quality. I'm talking the weight and feel is pristine. The pieces are so durable. We've had some of our Article pieces for years and they stand the test of time, but also the prices. Wow, the prices, okay? Over the years, we've gotten couches, dining room tables, chairs, side tables, and more from Article, and we keep going back because we are truly wowed every single time.
I'm a little obsessed with Article.
Yes.
I do always have an Article.com tab pulled up on my computer because I drool over all of their pieces. I'll tell you that. Article offers a curated range of mid-century, modern, coastal, and Scandinavian-inspired pieces that are gorgeous on their own, but they also pair seamlessly with nearly any other Article product, which is incredible because it makes it so easy to mix and match, meaning it helps so much creating a space that feels cohesive and stylish. And let's be clear, Article takes great care in curating its collection, focusing solely on high quality, meaningful pieces that will stand the test of time. There's no filler. Every item is chosen for its craftsmanship, design, and lasting value.
And Article offers fast, affordable shipping across the US and Canada with options for professional assembly if you prefer a hands-off experience. On top of that, they have an amazing customer care team. If you have a question or need help with your design choices, they are available 7 days a week, offering knowledgeable support and even free interior design services to help you get your home just right. And they have a 30-day satisfaction guarantee. I mean, it doesn't get any better. Article is offering our listeners $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. To claim, visit article.com/momdad and the discount will automatically be applied at checkout. That's article.com/momdad for $50 off your first purchase of $100 or more. Article.com/momdad. Okay, so again, we're going to be covering episodes 27 through 30. We're one episode behind, but we're going over those episodes. And just a quick reminder, tune in on Thursday where we will be covering the premiere episode of Bachelor in Paradise.
Yes.
We will be reunited with the Bachelor franchise.
We are back.
And then the following week, it's going to be the Love Island finale, which I'm feeling a little sad.
I know.
I'm feeling kind of devastated.
Especially with this last kind of episode when it felt like it kind of took a warmer turn.
Yeah.
You were like, ooh, are we
a little more warm?
Is it kind of like a vibe now? Like it's been nothing but fun, kind of like chaos. But
and then like painful drama.
And now it's kind of taking a warmer turn.
I know.
And I want to see that develop.
I know, me too. I'm sad that it's going to be over, but it's going to be the Love Island finale. So the following week, we're just going to have one episode. So tune in on next Thursday. So this Thursday, Bachelor in Paradise recap. Next Thursday, we're going to have the Love Island finale recap. And then the following week, we're going to do a Monday, Wednesday or a Monday, Thursday drop of 2 Bachelor in Paradise episodes. And we're going to dive deep into BIP. So that's the schedule. Okay, so let's get into it.
Yes.
So we left off after the Stand on Business challenge, which was absolutely brutal. It was absolute brutality. So we're obviously all sweating. Waiting to see what the dynamic is going to be like in this villa post all of this, and if anyone will ever speak to each other ever again. Like, are we basically going to be wrapping Love Island?
Which was kind of interesting because I felt the same way. I was kind of like, how are they going to recover from this? But, I guess when you're stuck in a in a camp together, you kind of you have to kind of get through it, or else no one's going to talk to each other again.
And obviously everyone's dynamic was different, but I will say I was very surprised and happy to see how a lot of people like had conversations and made peace. I was very surprised also how quickly it happened.
Yep.
Call me petty, but I'm a little more difficult than that. I probably would have just like been in a corner
less than like
sitting.
8 hours and everyone's just like back to
I would
where
have
they
just
were.
been in bed with the covers over my head, been like, I'm not talking to any of you right now. Like, are you kidding me? Like, I just saw what I saw after the polite golf claps. Like, absolutely not. So there are a few dynamics coming off. Obviously, most everyone goes to bed and is hurt and devastated. But the next morning, let's talk about a few of the dynamics that come from this, some of the reconciliations and some that were not so much. One that was not so much an immediate reconciliation was Amaya and Zak.
Yeah.
So Amaya's obviously devastated because Zak joined the voices of the men coming for Amaya at the Stand on Business challenge. Like, the guys were coming for her and he just decided to pop in and be like, yeah, you do make me feel this way and you're this way. And she's like, are you really doing this?
Which kind of goes with what she said before, which was like, you stop pursuing me and all you do is hang out with the boys. So it's definitely like this seemingly easily influenced, kind of wanting to get cred with the guys. So then talking shit on her makes him feel like he's a part of their crew more. I don't know what that was. It was sudden and random. It was almost like, it's cool to agree that Amaya's too much.
Right.
So if I agree, then I'll be cool. But if I actually say that she's not too much, then I'll be the weirdo who's into girls that are crazy. Or you know what I mean? Like it had that kind of weird energy.
Yeah, it had that weird energy. Well, and when he sits down with her and he pulls her and he's like, I'll let you speak first.
It's weird to pull someone and then be like, go ahead.
He goes, can you come with me? She's devastated. Go ahead. You can talk first.
Yeah, I was like, well, you're the one that pulled me and you're the one that attacked me. So I think you should be the first one.
You should be initiating this conversation. But she's like, you had so many opportunities to let me know how you felt. And the fact that you did it in front of everyone without just you and I alone. And he's like, I'll take accountability for that. But just as a heads up, the first day when you asked for a kiss, I didn't want to.
Right.
And I didn't communicate my boundaries, but I did it anyways. And she's like, that is so mean.
Yeah.
It is so mean because it's like, hey.
Oh, and FYI, I know I attacked you last night, and but also I shouldn't have kissed you.
Yeah, and I didn't want to.
Jeez.
I didn't want to. It's like he could have said it in a way that was like, hey, I've been feeling a certain way. Honestly, from like the beginning, like I was into you, but I also felt like I had these certain boundaries, whatever. There's a healthy way to communicate it. But the way he did it was just like, yeah, I didn't even want to kiss you the first time. And then it's like, I chose you. Like, you're here because of me. And now you're telling me this. And she's like, that is so mean. You're not an honest man. And then she's like, you're an extremely odd individual.
That to me is one of the nastiest disses anyone could ever give.
You mean like top tier?
Top tier, crush your soul diss. Because saying you're a piece of shit is like, okay, like you're bitter because you like me and I don't like you. Mm-hmm. Saying that you're, insensitive, all these things. But to call someone odd is so specific and also definitely unexpected by her. Like, I was not expecting you're an odd person.
Individual.
That was, one of my all-time
individual. And then she was
moments.
like, and I don't want to talk to you again. Shut the fuck up.
I love it. I love when she gets a little scorched earth. It's fantastic. She's like, I've had enough of this.
And we'll get more into it later, but I have to tell you, Zak took me on a ride that I did not like. Zak took me on a ride where it's like, we're into Amaya, and then he hears what the guys are saying from the villa, and then he's not into Amaya. And then as soon as he finds out that she's America's sweetheart and that everyone's obsessed with her, all of a sudden he's like, by the way, this whole time I thought you were a really wicked girl and I'm so into you and I know you better than anyone else knows you and you know me better. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, Zak was it was very much giving I want to be famous and stay in the villa.
He, by a mile to me, from my observation, is here for fame, is here to get DMs from girls. Like, he just feels like he moves the lead. Because it's like the flip-flop, the brutal, attack on her during the game. Then the next day being like, I shouldn't have kissed you, then snapping at her. Then the next day being like, I actually like you a lot. Then the next day being like, I'm only here for you. Like when that last push, when he tried to get on, it was like, he went really hard, like 3 or 4 times. It's like, dude, just the day before you were telling her
still going for Olandria too.
Exactly. And then the worst was when in the ITMs, he says, you know, I really put my best foot forward with both those girls. Hopefully one of them chooses me. It's like, what? Like you just outed your whole plan, like that it's just a game to you.
I know. I was very glad that she did not pick him, and I think he was giving me the vibe that he wants to be famous.
Gone. I just feel like he wasn't a good
he's
addition.
a model, so I get the fact that you want to get followers, and I'm like, listen, Zach, you don't need to use the way you're moving in Love Island to get followers. You are an absolutely gorgeous man who I'm sure is an incredible
everyone's
model.
on here for some sort of fame for sure, but it's like there's, you can also be like, you can also move in a way that like you treat people nice and well, then like, you know, he just wasn't good about hiding at least his bad intentions.
It just seemed so obvious, the shift, as soon as he found out that America was...
And that he might go home.
And then he might go home, but that America was into Amaya, even like right after that, he pulled her and was like... It was also making me laugh so hard when it came to the couple, like America's favorite couple, when he got pushed to the front. And he was like, thank you, everyone. Thank you. I'm like, Zach, I could be wrong. Maybe everyone's a huge fan of Zach, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's because of Papaya.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. I don't think it was you, bro. Sorry.
I'm pretty sure it was because of Papaya, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe America's like a huge fan. I don't know. But so that was Zach and Amaya. Another dynamic that we have is Pepe and Graceyn.
Yeah.
So Graceyn, after the Stand on Business challenge, is very distraught because she's like, I feel like I just found out that a guy that I thought was into me isn't into me and is still into Hannah. And she was tripping. Yeah. She was tripping. And you and I talked about it, like, I never really saw their connection.
Sure.
But I do feel like that would have been extremely jarring to find out all of that in front of everybody. That's gonna rock your world a little bit.
Yeah. For me, it was mainly like, you know, we've been on the journey with him and Hannah. Yeah. Versus she had no idea of how deep the connection was. She probably just assumed it was like anybody else who got cuffed. So you could see, it was interesting. You could just see, because she was crying like really hard for knowing someone for 3 days. Right. So my personal thing was like, did it seem a bit much? Maybe, but like also, she must have really liked him. Yeah. Because you could tell he was even a little surprised, because he was kind of like, oh yeah, I just, you know, he was really sweet about it when they broke up. It was really cool. But you could tell it was almost just he was breaking up like anyone else would after like a day or two. Yeah. And then she was the one that was like low key sobbing like they had been together this whole time. So it was like, it was just definitely like well, maybe she couldn't tell if it was like, I'm sad that this is over, or that maybe my journey's close to over, or that like I genuinely like this guy that much. I got
the vibe that like she definitely liked him, but I felt like the emotion, maybe I'm projecting, but I felt like the emotion
more like an ego hit.
Well, it's like it's an ego hit, but then also like you know when you are frustrated crying? Yeah, that's what where there's like the frustration of like I could have been getting to know other people and now I've kind of like pigeonholed myself and now you're rejecting me and that's frustrating and painful, and I got my ass over here, you know,
I got
flew
called
across
the worst kisser basically by like getting a 1.2. So she kind of came in and it was just like it was hit after hit for sure. You know, whatever your opinion of is her, like how she moves in the villa, but like I will say, like she took quite a few hits and then like left. So she definitely probably had one of the worst runs.
Oh God, I forgot about the kissing thing. That just like makes me feel devoed.
You could tell that she was just feeling like rattled, ego, like not even ego in a bad way, just more like, no, do I not have it? Well, you know, you could just tell it was rattling.
Yeah. Well, when she pulled him to basically find out, like, is there a spark here or no? Do you want to keep pursuing? Am I just a placeholder for Hannah? Like, what's going on? By the way, I don't know if you've noticed this, but Pepe lounges hard. No one
he's
lounges.
He's fully laid out.
Like
he's never sitting up. He's like he's laid down.
Sitting up. in every conversation, however
His back
serious,
is on the ground.
however serious,
Yeah.
however chemistry filled, however like tense, he is literally reclined so hard and his arms are completely up.
He's
and
horizontal.
He's just horizontal for every conversation.
Yeah.
His energy is so low key and
Low
he just
anxiety.
lounges like I've never seen.
Yeah, big lounge.
So she's like essentially having the "Are we breaking up?" conversation, and he's lounging.
He's in bed. Yeah.
He's lounging.
He's lounging.
But I was happy that he was direct with her, which I feel like we get with Pepe every time.
I mean,
feel like-
clearly Pepe's beloved
I
in a
was
big way,
very
and for
happy
a
to see
reason.
that.
He has moved extremely well.
I feel like he's moved in this villa with a lot of thought for other people's feelings.
Big time.
You know, instead
Very
of just
respectful
all
dude. Honest guy. I mean, yeah, in my opinion, he's moved the best out of all the guys.
I agree. I was very happy to see that he did so well in that challenge and that America also loves him because I'm a fan. He did do one thing in this episode that I was not a fan of, which we'll talk about later. But I was glad. I was very glad to see that he that he ended up
letting her go.
Just being straightforward with her and being like, hey, you're an amazing girl. This doesn't have anything to do with Hannah. I just don't feel like there's really a spark.
I agree.
With us. So those two wrap.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the Huda, Chelley, Olandria.
Yeah. Moments.
Conversations, reconciliations after the Stand on Business challenge. Okay, I want to say something. Yeah. So after our last episode, I received an email. Someone who was extremely unhappy with my takes on the Huda and Chelley situation. They were saying, you know, that's not really how you feel. You're virtue signaling, da-da-da-da. Listen, first of all, I did give my honest feelings. Right. Trust and believe, as someone who's a recovering people pleaser, my temptation is to always just go with a popular opinion. Sure. And this was clearly not a popular opinion. But I wanted to talk about why I had the feelings with Chelley that I did. So obviously from day one, I loved Chelley. Yeah. And I think all of America did. If you look at the percentages with the votes, she was always like the top for a while at the beginning there. I think everyone really loved Chelley. I also loved Huda. I mean, if you listen to our earlier episodes, like we loved Huda. Yeah. But when it comes to Love Island, I feel like these episodes are created to ignite feelings each episode about different feelings about different people. So, you know, it's like we've talked about with my Libra self, I'm a mess sometimes because one episode I'm like, I love them. And the next episode I'm like, wait, no, why? And so I've been trying to look at analyzing this season from track record. Right. So when I think about Chelley, I'm like, from the get, Chelley always seemed to be a really good friend. She was always a listening ear. She wouldn't even really like bring up a ton of her drama in. She was always just kind of listening and there for people. She wasn't like leaking secrets or starting drama. Obviously, there was kind of the back and forth with some of the connections, but she was also dealing with Ace, who's always exploring. Yeah. So overall track record, I'm like, wow, Chelley seems like this really great person. And then we had the big Huda crash out. Mm-hmm. And, you know, of course...
The great crash out of 2025.
The great crash out of 2025. And of course, you know, we were confronting a lot of the issues that we saw with Jeremiah. Mm-hmm. But in that case, we had to be like, well, Huda, that wasn't okay. That wasn't okay. But then about a week and a half after that, everything went down with Chelley. So the reason when I'm looking at this was the perspective that I had. First of all, I was trying to really put myself in Chelley's shoes, like being in the villa. Like, what would it be like to be day in and day out there and then experience the crash out while I'm trying to be there for this person and the ups and the downs and then also feeling like, you know, you're giving something, but then it feels like you can't feel like you can trust the person. Like just all of these big feelings while simultaneously having a connection who's exploring all these feelings building up. So I was trying to put myself in that position and think how Chelley is feeling, because I know for myself, probably if all that was happening, I would have things bubbling up inside of me. There would be frustration there. There would be a feeling of being really burnt out. So I was trying to put myself in Chelley's shoes. And then also, secondly, I was thinking about, I don't know, just in general, trying to give someone grace a little bit. You know, I think about how Huda was given grace after the crash out. And since then, we've seen Huda really grow a lot and really handle herself and move really differently in the villa. And so I thought with Chelley, listen, I completely understand why people felt the way they felt about how Chelley was moving.
Yeah.
I totally get it. But like I said, I'm also trying to think of like feelings and backstory, and then also the idea of just, I don't know, giving someone grace. Now, obviously, if something becomes habitual and you're seeing it over and over again, that's one thing. But at least from what I've observed in the villa, it was like Chelley's been really moving beautifully amongst friends and everything. And so, I don't know. I was just thinking about giving grace there. So, I don't know. Maybe I went in a space where I wasn't thinking about getting into the heads of both people as much as I should have.
Right.
I could be very wrong in my take. I've been very wrong many times before. I've been very wrong many times before. But I don't know. I just felt like I wanted to dive into like the track records and the other perspective, and then also remembering to give everybody grace, and just watching how America 1 second is like, get Huda out of the villa, and then the next second is like, Chelley's the worst.
Right.
And just trying to kind of balance the nuance of like, okay, these are people and they can make mistakes, and then, you know, and maybe that wasn't a great move on Chelley's part.
Yeah.
But then maybe we can extend grace to and see if she'll grow in that space. I don't know. Anyway, Libra. This show is very difficult to watch.
It is. It's hard not to. I think the big thing too. Yeah, it's hard not to every week decide that you hate or love someone.
I know.
Off of what they did that week. It's really hard not to just like have a whole new viewpoint on someone. Yeah. And then it's like back and forth, and you like them, and you hate them, and you like them, and you hate them, and now they're pretty cool. That was okay, and now I don't like them. It's just like that's. Well,
it's
very much
clearly our opinion was the unpopular one because we saw this in the game where Chelley and Ace were landing during the game.
Right. Well, I have thoughts on that game too. But
I do have hopes. I do have hopes that everyone will grow. I've seen the growth in Huda, and I feel like I totally get what people were saying with the Chelley dynamic. But again, I was looking at the track record and all that stuff, but I understand what people were saying, and it was really hard to see Huda have to experience that. Yeah. But I hope that maybe there's growth, and we'll talk about their conversations in a minute, because I feel like everyone is ending up in a bit of a better place.
Okay, love it.
But family, let's take a quick pause before we get into that. So listen, I have a feeling that we aren't going to see a lot of long-term relationships coming out of this season of Love Island. Probably not weddings, probably not children, but hey, who knows? If one of these Love Island couples decide to have a child, let me be the first to tell you about Haya. Getting our daughter Ember to take a daily vitamin really used to be a challenge, because either number one, she thought the vitamin tasted gross, or number two, the vitamins that didn't taste gross were basically candy in disguise, filled with 2 teaspoons of sugar, unhealthy chemicals, and other gummy additives growing kids shouldn't eat. But we wanted our kiddo to get those vitamins, so we were in quite a pickle until we discovered Haya's super-powered chewable vitamin. While many children's vitamins are filled with 5 grams of sugar, which is known to contribute to a variety of health issues, Haya is made with 0 sugar and 0 gummy additives, yet it tastes great and is perfect for picky eaters. I mean, since Haya, Ember now legit asks for her vitamin the moment that she wakes up because she loves the taste. And on top of it, you get this cool bottle with your first order, and then they send you eco-friendly refills every month. Well, that bottle came with stickers, so Ember was able to personalize her Haya vitamin bottle, which makes her even more excited to take them every day because it's like personal to her, and the taste is great. It's a win-win everywhere.
Yeah, Haya fills in the most common gaps in modern children's diets to provide the full body nourishment our kids need with a delicious taste they love. Formulated with the help of pediatricians and nutritional experts, Haya is pressed with a blend of 12 organic fruits and veggies, then supercharged with 15 essential vitamins and minerals to help support immune system, energy, brain function, mood, concentration, teeth, bones, and more.
Haya is designed for kids 2 and up and sent straight to your door. It's non-GMO, vegan, dairy-free, allergy-free, gelatin-free, nut-free, and everything else you can imagine. And by the way, are you tired of battling with your kids to eat their greens? Haya now has Kids Daily Greens Plus Superfoods, a chocolate-flavored greens powder designed specifically for kids, packed with 55 plus whole food ingredients to support brain power, development, and digestion. All you have to do is just scoop, shake, and sip with milk or any non-dairy beverage for a delicious and nutritious boost your kids will actually enjoy. We've worked out a special deal with Haya for their best-selling children's vitamin. Receive 50% off your first order. To claim this deal, you must go to hayahealth.com/mom and dad. This deal is not available on their regular website. Go to HIYAHEALTH.com/mom and dad. That's hayahealth.com/mom and dad, and get your kids the full body nourishment they need to grow into healthy adults. Okay, so getting back to the Huda, Olandria, Chelley conversation. So Olandria ends up pulling Huda because after the Stand on Business challenge, Huda is devastated. She doesn't really want to talk to anybody. And I was concerned that because Chelley hadn't wanted to talk before, and then Huda was hurt, and so then Huda didn't want to talk, that I was like, oh no, is this just going to end up breaking apart and no one's going to talk with anybody? So I was really glad that Olandria pulled Huda. And you know, she's basically like, I feel like we have a different relationship with each other. We both confide in each other a lot. Everything stayed between us. So I recognize that me spilling the kiss tea during the challenge is going to throw you off. I was very glad that Olandria, because you know, I love my girl Olandria, but the spilling of the kiss tea was a little bit like, oh, maybe not. I get in the moment. Emotions are heightened.
That was definitely a didn't think about it, realized
it came out and it was like, oh no,
100%.
Oh no,
because she was in her kind of crash out mode, so it was just like,
yeah, and it came out. So I was glad that she addressed that. She did say, if we're gonna take girl code seriously, why are you moving like that with Chris? Why are you kissing him? I didn't agree with her with this.
It's like you kissed Nic.
Well, yeah, there's that too.
Like much worse.
You kiss Nic. But also it's like everyone's open. So it's fair
I'm not
game.
saying it's wrong. I'm just saying like
No. I mean? I'm saying to disagree with Olandria's point, to tell Huda, like, why are you moving like that? Why'd you kiss Chris? I'm saying everyone is open. So everything is fair game. So I did not agree with that point because it was like, listen, I understand the conversation of I felt like you communicated this too late and et cetera, but the whole then like once it's all out in the open and everyone's pursuing each other, like why shouldn't Huda kiss Chris? Like it's not just Huda and or it's not just Chelley and Chris that could kiss. Like that to me. So then Huda was like, no, I disagree with you.
Right.
And it seemed like Olandria, after Huda was like saying that to her, like she understood where Huda was coming from. I think in that moment, genuinely, Olandria was just very much projecting what happened with her and Taylor.
Right.
I think there's still hurt feelings. So it's like the idea of someone kissing someone else's person is like, how could you do that? Because she's thinking about Taylor and Clark. And it's like, this is a very different circumstance. Right. You know, it wasn't like Chris and Chelley were fully locked down.
Yeah.
So I was happy that they ended up having a moment where Huda was just like, yeah, I was really, really hurt and I feel like nobody had my back. And she apologizes and she doesn't want Huda to feel that way. And they promised to just talk to each other moving forward.
Right.
You know?
Which was the small thing of the things. Like their reconciliation wasn't like this big issue. It was almost like, it felt more almost like, yeah, that kiss thing was annoying, but I know you're like besties with Chelley and I can't have both of you hating me.
Right.
So like the first one is Olandria. If we can knock that out, maybe I can get through.
I felt like that Olandria pulling Huda started to get the ball rolling in like Huda. You saw the second that Olandria talked to Huda like lit up after they had a conversation.
Like there's hope here.
So then it got the ball rolling that then the conversation was then able to happen with Chelley, where then they had a conversation where, you know, Chelley was basically just like, I felt like I had been there for you. And then I felt like the way that you moved in this made me uncomfortable. And, you know, Huda was like, I'm interested in him, but I also was like, hey, you're interested in him too. He's the perfect person to bring back because we're both interested in him. Miscommunications, all this, that, and the other. And they promised to communicate with each other too.
I still think it all comes back down to like not the actual facts of the situation.
Yeah.
I think it all had to do with the fact that Chelley was insecure about her relationship with Ace.
I agree.
Felt like he wasn't committing. I don't know how to feel about that. Okay, I'll explore. Then finally I explore, and Huda's also exploring the guy, and that pisses me off because of all the bullshit I had to deal with her. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what it felt to me. It felt to me just kind of like, I think I talked about this last time, where it's just built up over time. Well, that's what I was talking about earlier.
It's
Frustration.
the bubbling of like when you're having all of these things, then it comes to the surface.
Yeah, I feel like it had very little to do with the actual like situation that happened. It was like that was the tipping point, but that wasn't like the big issue. It was the bubbling of like the last weeks of like rubbing each other wrong.
So they all seem to make
like put
peace,
it to bed.
And I have to say, I am very impressed with how Huda handled this.
Yeah.
After the stand on business thing, she did not fly off.
Yeah.
I was expecting there to be another crash out.
See,
right?
I think she's gone through enough now where it's like she realizes if she crashes out, she'll be completely alone, and that's much worse than like a crash out with a guy.
That's growth. You know what I mean? It's like she didn't. She was like, I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And then when they had these conversations, the conversations felt very healthy. Both people communicated how they were feeling, and I was very impressed.
Yeah.
With every aspect of the dynamic.
Yeah.
And then Huda is then chopping it up with Chris, and I think these two might work out too.
Interesting, right?
Like,
definitely interesting. Like he's so chill. You can't get more chiller than Chris.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit like, if anyone could handle Huda, it's gonna be a Chris.
And I feel like when they had the conversation, you know, when he woke up and he was sad because he had the dream about basketball, and he's like, I'll have these dreams sometimes. I'd be like, do I want to keep pursuing this? If I do, then what about a potential family? Because I'm so busy. And I feel like she gave him good advice and was kind of like a soft space for him to land in his processing.
Yeah.
And so initially too, you know, I had said, I'm like, I don't know if Chris has a little bit of like the savior complex because he's just seeming to be like drawn to Huda when she's crying.
Yeah.
But in these couple episodes, Huda was, for the remainder of it, in a really good mood, and they seemed to connect more.
I also don't think there's that immediate fire, which I think is important for Huda. Huda doesn't need to be in an immediate fire. Like, I think she's addicted. I think she's one of those that's like addicted to the like, he's the hottest guy I've ever seen. I'm super into him. I want to like jump his bones. I love him.
Yeah. Like she said in the first episode, she likes beautiful men.
Toxic trait. You know what I mean? Or not toxic trait, but like her, you know, tendency, like her not healthy tendency is to like, jump in all the way with the hottest guy and have but I think someone like Chris, who she seems to be into but isn't like obsessed with, they could grow into something, which is probably something she needs.
And I gotta tell you, Chris was really tickling me during these episodes, like during the recouplings.
Oh yeah, he was always like, yes.
He was like cheesing about everyone's love.
Yeah.
He seems like a very love bug, like a sensitive love bug guy.
Agreed. And
like you said, that might be a good fit for Huda, where it's like he's this big guy, but he's got this very like soft, warm, gentle energy.
Yep.
I don't know. He's definitely like, I'm liking Chris more and more every episode.
Yeah, I agree. He's really solid.
So the other dynamic that we have going on is Ace and Chelley. These two are not talking at this point.
Yeah.
So we go into the hate to burst your bubble challenge with Ace and Chelley not talking because Chelley's like, why did you air that dirty laundry? Ace is not in a good mood now, coming off of it being like, now I'm really questioning everything, like the fact that Chelley was in between both of us, and now hearing everybody's thoughts and opinions on everything. He seems like he's on his way out with Chelley. She seems like she's on her way out with him. I want to make note of that before we talk about the Hate to Burst Your Bubble challenge, because I found their reaction to everything afterwards with their relationship interesting.
Yeah.
But we have the Hate to Burst Your Bubble challenge, and it's all America's opinions, baby. They're ranking the boys and girls from most to least, and they have a couple categories. The first one is boys most to least genuine. The girls think that Zak is the least genuine after the Amaya situation.
Right.
Listen, the women in this villa are not playing with Zak really after how he treated Amaya Papaya. It's like, not only does America love Amaya Papaya, but clearly the women are also like, this is the diamond who just brings a smile to everyone's face. Even the fact that like, after this Hate to Burst Your Bubble challenge, Amaya pulled Clark and was like, people don't see you the way because it just know you're loved. She was so sweet with Clark. But they think Zak is the least genuine and Elan is the most genuine. America says Pepe is the most genuine. Yep. And then Chris, Zak, Nic, Elan, Bryan, TJ, Austin, Ace. Yeah. Everyone's like, oh, fuck. Everyone's pretty surprised. And then Taylor is the least, which obviously makes sense. Taylor came in at the least, at the bottom for everything, as did Clark. And it's clearly because...
just like, we hate this couple because they hurt Olandria.
Because of the dynamic with their energy, which we'll talk about. But then there's the best boyfriend material to worst boyfriend. Evan, I was sent when they put Ace down as best boyfriend material.
You know he's... Because there's certain people where you're like they kind of know they're not, but like Ace is definitely one of those guys that like would pride himself at being like a good boyfriend. And the fact that he got last was definitely, that was a little shocking to me.
He didn't get last. They put him up. They put him up as best boyfriend material.
That was crazy to me.
And I'm like,
given what evidence? He has been no boyfriend. He's not locked down Chelley. Like, I don't know what's going on.
Like, I don't understand what the perspective
because he did
of
like
the
a yoga date and like a breakfast date. Like, that means he's a good boyfriend.
I'm like, hey, you guys, Ace hasn't secured anything with anybody. So where are we coming from right now?
Exactly.
Obviously, America did not think that way. They put Pepe as the best boyfriend material. Then Chris. The people love Chris. Nic, Elan, Zak, Bryan, TJ, Ace, Austin, Taylor. This is where Chelley all of a sudden is in ITMs. She's like, damn, what am I not seeing? Yeah. She's shook.
Sure.
What am I not seeing? And then the girls go up, and it's, who do you trust with your deepest secrets from most to least? The boys want to put Jaden in front because she's an investigator, which made me giggle. I'm like, I don't feel like America's going to be voting, thinking about...
First of all, an investigator finds out secrets, not keeps them.
But she probably does. In her job.
She does know.
But I'm like, you guys, this is like what you do during the challenges where it's like have the most serious chemistry and you guys are like making a mountain out of each other. Yeah. Men, I don't think America necessarily is thinking about the fact that Jaden's a private
well, it's that, I forgot, what's that game that like you don't like, it's like a card game where like people write down certain things, but you pick you pick the statement that you think the person wrote, not the truest statement.
Oh, sure.
Whatever that game is called. It's like that. They didn't play it like that. They play like, well, technically it's this. It's like, no. You have to guess what you think your friend wrote.
What do you think America's
So it's like,
say?
What do I think America would say? Not what actually is the case. You know what I mean?
Well, America said Amaya Papaya. America loves you, baby. Iris, Olandria, Graceyn, Huda, Cierra, Jaden, Chelley. Yeah. Andrina, and Clark. Yeah. And then girls most to least genuine. And America voted Amaya first and foremost, Iris, Olandria, Graceyn, Huda, Jaden, Cierra, Andrina, Chelley, and then Clark. Yeah. So Chelley is basically getting in the bottom for all of these things.
And Chelley were in the big doghouse.
Taylor and Chelley. Well, also Ace and Clark.
And Ace and but I'm saying Well, I guess like Clark was just the
Clark was
byproduct
a victim of the Taylor situation. Yes.
But I feel like because of the Taylor and the Chelley fallout from the game, mostly them, I feel like then the couples got also lumped in as well.
But Evan, everyone has their. Ace, come now.
I know.
People are the way that Ace has been moving.
But I do feel like it also didn't help. Yeah, I feel
think people are also mad that Ace is lying about the fact that he's 5'10" because there is no way that he's 5'10".
I mean, literally, there's like videos of him and his like feet are like dangling off of the thing.
I'm just like, hey, dude. no, we love a short king, okay? Like, but just like the 5'10", it's a lie.
That's
like
it
must be a lie because when I'm seeing you standing next to all those
guys are 7'4",
unless all the women are 5'10", which I don't think so, because when I see like a Papaya standing next to Chris, it's like a 3-foot difference.
Exactly.
Okay. But yeah, when that was coming to a close, Chelley was shook because I think Chelley in the earlier episodes was getting the vibe when it was like America's favorite that she was definitely up there for America's favorite. And now she's feeling like, oh shit, what's going on? Why am I at the bottom? So she's processing that. And then I did really feel, I don't know how America feels about Clark. I felt really bad for Clark in this situation because obviously the whole Olandria thing is so painful and we were all shouting from the rooftops, but at the same time it still hurts. And I think that Clark so far seems like a really nice woman.
Clark has said like 4 words. So
well, and also I felt like her and Olandria are good. Yeah. And
she knows it's not her fault.
But it's still that feeling.
For sure.
I was happy that Taylor acknowledged when he talked to her afterwards, that Taylor acknowledged like, hey, sorry that was fully on me. And I'm really sorry that my actions have now kind of put a target on you for now being in this.
Which made me laugh thinking about when Nic and Olandria were talking close to the end and they had like, so was it kind of like, did you feel bad for Taylor that they were in the bottom? She's like, no, absolutely not. I loved it. That was so funny. I loved that. It made me laugh so
The
hard.
honesty was real. Yeah. It was real. And then they do couples. They say, which couple would you want to go on vacation with most to least? Amaya and Zak at first, then Cierra and Nic, Graceyn and Pepe, Huda and Chris, Iris and TJ, Jaden and Austin, Andrina and Bryan, Chelley and Ace second to last, Taylor and Clark.
Now, listen, I do agree with Taylor and Clark being at the bottom of that one, only because I find love them to be the two by far the most boring people in the villa. Not even close. So like a vacation energy, they're just not, they're way too chill. Can
you imagine a vacation with Amaya and Zak? I mean, to give Zak credit, Zak has a lot of energy.
So there's probably a lot of fun there.
It would be a great time. Agreed. It would be a great time, that's for sure. And then they're given the final question. America voted for their favorite boy and their favorite girl, and this is not a game anymore. The 3 bottom girls and the 3 bottom boys who got the least amount of votes are going to be up for elimination, and they can only pick one. So out of 6
good game
people,
though. We had too many people in the villa. We had to clean it up a little bit. I do agree.
that like kind of rocked my world. I'm not gonna lie to you.
But it was good. It was like we don't want to get rid of one. We gotta get rid of a couple. Like we gotta clean house a little bit.
God, I was sweating.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that in just a moment. But first, we gotta take one more quick pause. So, family. We may not be invited to the villa to join the Love Island cast, but hey, it's summer and we are certainly hoping to get in a beach vacation. And if you're planning on hitting the water in these summer months, we have to tell you about Minnow. They have the most gorgeous swimwear for the whole family. Minnow is a family lifestyle brand that embraces clean lines, simple details, and crisp seaside breezes. I mean, I swear when you look at their products, you can literally feel the spray of the ocean. They're timeless and polished, yet fresh and playful, and the quality is premium. Minnow's best-selling products are the girls' rash guard one piece, boys' boardies, and unisex rash guard shirts. We recently got Ember one of the rash guard one pieces, and it is so soft. She is so comfortable in it, and it's gorgeous too. Their pieces are gorgeous.
Yeah, and like Jess said, it's for the whole family too. I have a few pairs of their boardies, and I have to tell you, they are hands down my favorite. First of all, the fabric is so comfortable and high quality. I love the cut. You can tell that each suit is designed with comfort, performance, and protection in mind. It's not riding up, keeps the sand out when I'm hitting the waves, as I do, no big deal. Also, I got my favorite shirt of all time that I wear most days of the week. Apologies for wearing it every single day, babe.
I love it on you.
From Minnow, their evergreen French terry polo. It's incredible. I definitely am going to get another one. I need to buy like Actually, like 5 more.
Yeah. I'm happy if you buy 5 more because that shirt is stunning on you, as are the boardies. Also, going back to Ember's rash guard one piece, I have to tell you, Ember is a big beach kid diving in and out of the waves. And other rash guards that we've tried on her were not successful because she just wasn't comfy. Well, she loves her Minnow one-piece rash guard. She says it feels like butter. She said it feels like butter, and the premium fabric keeps sand out of the lining. It's also super easy for her to put on and take off, and all suits have UPF 50 plus protection, blocking 98% of UVA and UVB rays. Minnow is gorgeous. I mean, we're talking Minnow has been featured in everything from Vogue to Harper's Bazaar, okay? And their thoughtful collections allow the whole family to coordinate. Go to shopminnow.com and enter MEETMinnow15 at checkout to receive 15% off your first order. That's shopminnow.com, code MEETMinnow15. Again, shopminnow.com, code MEETMinnow15 for 15% off. Okay, so back to the Islanders voting. So the bottom 3 girls are Jaden, Graceyn, and Andrina, which they're the newest girls. So, you know, that does make sense to me. It's just the people know them the least at this point. But the bottom 3 boys are TJ, Taylor, and Austin.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, again, the Islanders have to vote. They can only save one person of the 6, and they have to stand behind the Islander they want to save. Now, this is where I've got some opinions. So Elan stands behind Graceyn. Bryan and Chris stand behind Jaden. Iris, of course, stands behind TJ, and Zak does as well. Olandria stands behind Austin.
Yeah.
But then with Andrina, Huda stands behind her, which I loved considering the Jeremiah love triangle.
True.
I was like, you know what? Huda's stepping up and she's supporting Andrina. She could have stood behind anybody. Shout out to that. Amaya then stands behind Andrina, and Chelley. So we have a lot of people standing behind Andrina. But then with Taylor, Clark stands behind Taylor, of course. Pepe stands behind Taylor. Now, family, this is the one thing that I told you that made me unhappy with Pepe. I was like, why? I don't understand. Pepe, I feel like the best thing that he could have done was stand behind Graceyn, because I felt like that would have just been a really kind
like a
thing.
wasted vote, but a nice move.
I mean, yes.
Like he knew that no one was going to it wasn't going to be a pile behind Graceyn.
I know, but still out of support where it's just like, hey.
Yeah, like we're not together, but I want to keep you around. She feels like you
strung her along. She didn't get to know anybody else in the villa. Now stand behind her to potentially give her an opportunity to get to know.
Strategically, you're kind of getting closer to the guys this way. Because Taylor's beloved by the guys.
Yeah, but I don't care about that. I'm just saying. That's what I don't want. I don't like that. It's not about strategically getting closer to the guys. It's like, okay, you're going to get closer to like Taylor and Ace, like whoop-de-doo and Nick.
I'm just saying you're going to be stuck in the villa with those guys. It's a way to kind of get more in with the homies. You know what I mean?
He though later says, Pepe, like during the crashing out challenge, he was like, Taylor, he's like the best man I know. And I'm like, so, what is Pepe? What is happening right now?
He must vibe with Taylor.
That shook me a little bit. I was like, okay, let's have some like a moment here for Olandria and some like clarity here. And then Nic stands behind Taylor. Ace stands behind Taylor, of course. And then Cierra gets the final vote. So at this point, it's Taylor and Andrina are fully even.
Yeah.
So Cierra could save Andrina by standing with the women.
Yes.
Or she could, if she wanted to just not be the one to make the decision and let it be that Taylor and Andrina have to have some sort of like tiebreaker.
Yeah.
She could have stood behind TJ.
Right.
Because supposedly Iris is like her bestie. So why not support Iris? Cierra instead goes and stands behind Taylor,
which feels like the shot from the bow regarding the kiss on Nic.
Oh yeah,
it felt
I didn't even think about the Nic thing
because it was the Olandria. It's like Olandria stood behind Austin, and it felt a little bit like, oh, you don't have my we're cool, but you don't have my back, so I don't have yours. It felt a little like that.
It was dirty because. I
couldn't tell. I was like, is that just I want to vote with Nic and so that like we keep his friend around? Or is it like, and it's doubling as a little bit of a shot to Olandria? I couldn't tell, but it read like that a little bit to me.
I have to tell you, either way, it was dirty to me because let's just say it was a shot at Olandria.
Yeah.
Then you're being completely not real because you're telling Olandria everything's good. And then you're keeping Taylor around, who obviously is going to cause her emotional turmoil to have Taylor still in the villa, even though she's processing through everything. And then you're just like essentially supporting someone that really just hurt her. Or what she said to Olandria later when Olandria was like, that broke my heart. When Cierra stood behind Taylor.
Yeah.
Cierra said, I'm so sorry if it was uncomfortable for you, but like, I did it for Nic. And I'm like, oh, so we're going to like support by the way, not even boyfriend, just the person who you're closed off with in the villa. You're going to make sure he's okay because he'd be so sad if Taylor was gone. You're going to totally hurt your friend. Coming from Cierra, who was all talking about the being a girl's girl thing, and they had their like girl's girl pack.
Yeah.
For her to then stand behind Taylor was messed up.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm jumping ahead.
Okay.
But speaking of, while we're talking about Cierra, I'd like to talk about this for a minute. So, obviously, in episode 30, Love Island tells us that Cierra has left the villa for personal reasons.
Yeah.
So we didn't know anything about what's going down with Cierra until the episode before. So Saturday's episode, my sister had texted me and I was like, holy fuck, and found out everything about Cierra. So basically, here's the deal, family. Love Island's telling you, if you don't know, I'm sure you already do, but if you don't know, Love Island's telling you that Cierra left for personal reasons. That is absolutely not true. Yeah. There were numerous posts that were exposed from Cierra where she is using racial slurs directed towards the Asian community, and it is horrific.
Yeah.
Like, it was terrible. And obviously, you know, you and I over the past few weeks, it's been like, oh my gosh, love Cierra. She's so, I mean, we've been all like singing Cierra's praises. So hearing this was just like, it was horrible. Okay. So when I found out on Saturday and watched that episode, I was like, are they not going to remove her from the villa? Right. Because they removed Yulissa from the villa, good, as they should. Yep. But again, when they removed Yulissa from the villa, they just made a little comment where they're like, Yulissa had to leave. Right. So I'm sitting here thinking, watching Saturday's episode, I'm like, are they really not going to pull Cierra from the villa because Cierra and Nic have one of the only serious connections and they're trying to wrap this show? Right. And I was like, you better fucking pull Cierra, because it was a good thing that you pulled Yulissa, like we discussed in the episode after Yulissa was pulled. Like, this is for the protection of your cast. The fact that Love Island is not, and the producers are not doing their due diligence and finding these things out, and that the general public is able to do just a little bit of research and get all of this shit. But I wanted to say that, to echo back what I said in that episode when they pulled Yulissa, the fact that they are not taking the time to say why Yulissa is pulled is so upsetting to me. And then also, now echoing with Cierra, the fact that they are not taking the time to say why Cierra was pulled. Love Island has a massive platform. Yeah. Billions of people are watching this show. This is a moment where you could, number one, take accountability, Love Island, and apologize for the fact that you're putting your cast members in this situation, and also the public not knowing and watching, and apologize for the fact that you're not doing your due diligence when you're casting. But also, number two, having this massive platform and taking the opportunity to have the conversation about racism. Yeah. My sister brought up an amazing point. She said, I think it's interesting that Love Island is able to take the time to put up a message in their episodes about, hey, make sure that we're kind to everybody, which I think is important, but that they won't acknowledge what's happening racially. That the fact that they'll take a moment to post about that, but they won't take a moment to post about what actually went down and just say, oh, she left for a personal reason, instead of using their platform as a way to have this like incredibly important, necessary conversation. Include resources. Like it's something that they could so easily do. So that was just like, I was like, are you fucking kidding me, you guys?
Yeah, we're not even saying personal reason. You know what I mean? Like they kind of went out of their way to say something that's not true. So
That's
it was just,
what I'm
you know what I mean? It's one
saying.
thing to be like, she's been removed from the show.
Yes.
But to be like, for personal reasons, sounds like she had a doctor's appointment or something. You know what I mean? Like it definitely.
Or there was something with family or whatever.
Right. It was like, what? You know what I mean?
And they wouldn't
talk about it.
They wouldn't.
Well, I think one reflects on them versus like the bullying thing reflects on the audience. So it's like the audience, chill out. But if you say, then it's like, no, you have to be held accountable for like your casting. You have to be held accountable for like your background check. You didn't check into it hard enough. Whatever. You know what I mean? So it's probably we don't want to take responsibility for
it clearly seems that way. So get your shit together, Love Island production, because I mean, like I said, glad that they removed Yulissa.
Right.
Very glad that they removed Cierra. But
it was wild. I mean, because it was definitely crazy to kind of like we're towards the end.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden it's like she's gone, and you're kind of like, wait, oh, she's gone.
Yeah.
And then you're like watching. Because you were also kind of thinking, does Nic know why she's gone?
Well,
did they
that's
just
what I was
provide him with like,
wondering.
she has to leave and they don't tell him? Or did they kind of give him the like, here's kind of why, just FYI.
Well,
and then he kind of has to then make his, moves based on kind of his new
that's
knowledge.
That was what I was wondering the whole time, is I was like, do they let the cast know? Because obviously we saw Nic then bounce right into Olandria.
Because how quickly he shifted, you're kind of wondering.
That could just be how he is habitually, but the vibe that I got was he found out why.
And it was a little I didn't know this person kind of thing.
Exactly. You're sitting in a situation where all of a sudden you find this out about someone, just like how us as the audience found out.
Because they had clarified the day before, hey, what does this mean? Oh, it means that when we get out of here, we're going to kind of exclusively see each other, but we're not boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, whatever that meant. But
yes. What I'm saying is it's kind of like, oh, okay. So if that is the case, you would think that he would leave if he didn't know. You know what I mean? If it was just she had to leave, or she got booted off, let's say.
Yeah.
That like it would be argued that he would leave with her.
Yeah.
So the fact that he didn't and then he moved on that quickly, it's either that's just how he moves, or B, I didn't know this person, never mind.
I got the vibe that they probably found out, because even I felt like the way that in conversation with Olandria and Nic, there was an energy where I even was noticing they weren't really saying her name.
They weren't like, we miss her so much, she's the greatest.
They weren't really saying her name, very much in grieving, because I would imagine if they found out, then you're like, who the fuck was this person
so it was kind
that
of
I was
good
interacting with this
energy.
whole time? Like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the situation. And it's just like, this is just, again, please, Love Island, like take the time to use your platform. This is like the biggest show on the planet. Like, again, in the year 2025, this is so fucking important. Use your platform to discuss this. Get into racism in the United States. Like, get the fuck into this. And I'm glad that they were removed from the show, but to just write it off and be like, left for personal reasons is ridiculous. And do more due diligence in casting. And we'll see what Cierra says. Maybe now once this episode's dropped, she's had a conversation about it, but as of now, she hasn't said anything. So okay, but jumping back to the Love Islander vote, sorry, all over the place. But Taylor, because of Cierra's vote, Taylor ends up getting saved, and Jaden, Graceyn, Andrina, Austin, and TJ get dumped from the villa. Obviously, Iris is bawling. She's very upset. Her and TJ were kind of starting to be mom and dad of the villa. He seemed shockingly unemotional to me.
Yep.
Was kind of like, all right, yeah, see you on the other side. And so the second he was like that, I was like, Iris, pursue someone else.
Yeah.
For the love of goodness, pursue
so hard.
someone
He was
else.
Like, oh, you're going to be strong. Don't worry about it.
You're going to be fine, babe. Yeah.
He definitely was like, just to be honest with you, I'm here for the DM. So like, hopefully my DMs are a lot more stacked. Bye. Nice to meet you.
That is the vibe that I was getting. So the conversation's starting to happen. Chris was like, I don't know if Iris is going to be open again. Elan is like, hey, I think she would have stayed if she was locked. I don't think she would have stayed if she was locked in on TJ. So now he's interested.
And 4 hours later, she's like hanging out with Pepe. So it's just funny. It's funny how everyone has these massive reactions, like the Hannah with the Charlie thing. It's like people have these huge reactions, and then like 5 minutes later, they're like in a new couple. It's just hilarious.
When her and Pepe, when it was nighttime, and Pepe's like, you want to join me
exactly.
in bed? And then they were just staring at each other.
Exactly.
I had butterflies.
Yeah, it was like, wow.
I was like,
okay. Yeah, I just
okay.
love how all these people are so like overly emotional. Like you make you think that they care that much, and then you realize, oh, they just met this person a couple days ago, and they're just emotional, and now they're over it. And they're hooking up with someone new.
Love you, Pepe, but please stop calling her your bombshell sister, because now you two are like getting romantically involved, and the word sister just needs to
be ejected
to be ejected from the vocab as of right now. Also, post elimination and post hate to burst your bubble game, we have Ace and Chelley. Okay, so this is the conversation I wanted to have. So obviously both of them are pretty damn rattled after the game. I think both of them had the perception that they were really beloved by America. That's the vibe I got. And so I think they were like, what the hell? I thought that America loved me.
And they both kind of carry themselves with that ego too. Like they both kind of carry themselves like, we're kind of the shit. So you know it rattled them.
I feel that way about Ace. I do not feel that way about Chelley. Let me just make that very clear.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe
I don't feel that way about Chelley, but I feel that way about Ace. Yes, Ace
like,
carries himself like he's the godfather.
Everyone else is kind of like not as cool as me, not as good looking as me, not as you know.
He's the
attractive.
godfather energy.
So there's a little bit of that, like he was like, what?
Yeah, it's like what the hell is going on?
How's everyone obsessed with me?
So this is what I found interesting. So these two were not speaking before the game.
Yeah.
Obviously, once they both were basically in the bottom for everything, they had a conversation where they were like, yeah, this sucks. And essentially, there was a bit of a trauma bond post the game.
I think that was also for Taylor and Clark.
It brought them closer together.
I think the people in the bottom, it like brought everyone closer together because it was like, wait, where everyone hates us. So should we be in this thing together? It had that energy to me.
So Ace and Chelley immediately were like bonding over that. And in that episode and then the next episode, essentially these two, like, they don't technically lock it down, but they kind of do, because Chelley then makes it known. She's like, you know what? I really just want to pursue you. She technically cuts off everything with Chris, even though that was over. Yeah. But she like publicly says that she's just interested in Ace and she wants to like be serious with Ace. Yeah. Here's my thing. One of two things are happening, in my opinion. Okay. Either one, it's what you're saying. The feeling of, I guess we're alone in this, but we have each other.
Because if Chelley was at the top and Ace was at the bottom, might be a different vibe.
Yes, I hear that. So I'm wondering, it's like, is it that feeling of, wow, we're both in the bottom, we're alone, but we have each other. So let's like see the other person really and be like, let's be done with all of this exploring and let's just really lock it in because you and I both are feeling the pain of being rejected by America. Is that what's happening? Or the other thing to me is I'm wondering if Chelley feels like the questioning, why am I in the bottom? Yeah. Because from what Chelley knows so far, America's loved her and now all of a sudden she's in the bottom. So I would assume, you're starting to examine, why am I in the bottom? Yeah. And she might be thinking it's because I'm bouncing between connections. Mm. And
interesting.
And I had the Chris and Ace connection. So I'm just wondering if Chelley wanted to lock it down really quickly like that.
And Chris choosing Huda pretty obviously.
Right. But like I'm wondering if like she wants to like verbally then make it known that she is with Ace because she's wondering if America doesn't like that she's bouncing around.
Interesting. Yeah, like is it a public play versus like an actual feeling?
And listen, like again, I'll stand by it. I really love Chelley. I love Chelley. I know what we talked about and I hear what everyone was saying about the last couple episodes, but the track record leading up to it, I do love Chelley.
Yeah.
But I had scratched with this a little bit where I'm like, because she goes from not talking to him and being like, I don't know, to right after the game, let's lock it down together. So again, is it kind of a in the pain together, they're united and it's like, you know what, you've been in front of me this whole time and I'm done playing games and I'm willing to get hurt now because I'm going to take a chance on you? Or is it like, America doesn't like me and I'm trying to figure out what reason, so I'm going to try to lock it down with somebody? I don't know.
Might be a mix.
It might be a mix.
Might be just a mix.
I'm not sure. That was the only thing that was like a little head scratchy to me, just because of how swiftly they went from like, we're upset at each other to we're locking it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was my only thing. So then we have, oh, by the way, Huda and Chris do have a conversation where we find out that he was a band kid.
Yeah.
And she was a choir kid. And also I saw on TikTok something about her, or on Instagram something about her being also a musical theater kid. And then I saw Huda sing.
Yeah, that was crazy. I was not expecting that. She can rip.
Huda can
Rip.
Like, that woman can sing.
Sing.
Like,
not influencer sing.
No.
Sing.
Like, sing. Like, was a choir kid, was a theater kid. Sing.
Can rip.
And I do have to tell you, as soon as I found out she was a theater kid, as a fellow theater kid myself, I was like, I understand some of what's going on right now.
Sure, a theater kid for sure. Some of those swings.
You know, sometimes you got the main character energy as a theater kid.
Those drama moments, you're like, wow, that's a big reaction.
As a theater kid myself, it made me go,
I understand
some of the dynamics a little more. Okay, then they have...
Life is a stage, you know what I mean?
Life is a stage. Then they have the crashing out challenge.
Yeah.
And each person chooses a wingman, wingwoman, and then they have to like barrel through.
Yeah.
Those doors were gnarly.
Yeah.
I was like, people are going to get concussed.
Yeah, it definitely was not mellow. They got rocked.
They had to have been bruised head to toe.
Yeah.
And then they like dive into a ball pit, they get slimed, and then after they say they're crashed out, they get pied, and then they choose someone to make out with. It's just a fun game overall.
Yeah,
really
nothing really come from
nothing dramatic. A couple of the notable things was that Zak had Amaya be his wing woman, and then as soon as they dove into the ball pit, he started making out with her, and that was shocking.
Again, the swing
He's
king.
really shooting his shot.
She's like, where's those boundaries when you were talking about it? You know, it's just like...
Evan, thank you.
Yeah.
I know it's technically, they say the challenges are free game, but like...
No. Yes, to some extent, but 50-50.
But after their like conversations, you'd be like, please don't do that.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Exactly.
And he does kiss Olandria. Pepe ends up choosing Iris to make out with.
Yep.
Olandria's like, Pepe has a type.
Yes, seriously.
Very clearly.
God. 3 blondes in a row.
Yeah,
I mean, we know, we get it.
We get it, Pepe.
The only 3 that were there, he's like, yes, please.
Yes,
funny.
yes. And then Bryan ends up kissing Amaya Papaya. After this game, Amaya and Zak end up having a conversation where he's like, I think you're amazing. I can't get over the fact that he made out with her after they had that brutal conversation, like without her permission. So crazy.
Well, he knows that she's not an easy forgiver, but a quick forgiver. So he's like, well, I've seen her do it in the past. So.
Yeah. Well, bless her sweet papaya heart. When they're talking, she starts crying and she's like, I feel so hurt for calling you those names, and I'm so sorry.
I'm like, fuck you, dude. You're out of here. I'm not talking to you anymore. And meanwhile, she's apologizing. She's so sweet, dude.
She is so...
We don't deserve her.
We don't deserve her. She is so precious.
She's so precious.
She is so precious. And then, of course, we had the Amaya moved to Bryan.
Yeah.
And they had their speakeasy moment. And he's like, I like the pace that you move at. Our chemistry is there. I want to explore you. She straddles him and they start making out. And these two are making out for a long time.
Yep.
They are going at it for a while. She goes, I'm getting all kitty and jiggly about it.
I don't know what that means. Don't know kitty and jiggly. I mean, don't understand either of those adjectives, but I love it.
Kitty and jiggly about it. The next day she was sending me when Taylor wanted to have a special breakfast for Clark that Ace was helping him with. And Ace was like, Amaya, distract Clark. And
she's like, you know who she's like? The SNL skit with
Kristen
Wiig, where they're like, okay, don't tell the surprise. And she's like, and they're like, go distract Clark. Clark's currently not needing to be distracted. So all you need to do is go into the room and wait. And then if Clark starts to walk out, be like, hey, Clark, actually, I wanted to ask you about something.
Do you have an extra brush?
She makes it 10 times worse. She interrupts her doing makeup. It says, can you sit with me? And then she goes, what's your favorite color? I mean, that was all time insane. I mean, that was one of the most like, that'd be like if I sent Ember to do it.
That was so cute.
If I sent Ember to do it, she'd walk in and be like, what's your favorite color? And what's your favorite date? And Clark's kind of like sitting there. And after she answers the question, they sit there just awkwardly. Like, why are we doing this? That was so funny. It's like Amaya's like the worst secret agent of all time. Right? Amaya's like a movie. You know when they have a movie where like someone becomes like a secret agent accidentally? She's that person. It's just like, whoa. It's like walking into like the mafia base and be like, wow, it'd be crazy if someone was an undercover cop, wouldn't it be? That'd be horrible. I wonder who that could be. Everyone's like, what? Yeah, that was really cute.
Oh, that was the cutest thing I've ever seen.
What's your favorite color? I mean, that is insane. What's your favorite color is unbelievable in any context as an adult, let alone to like play it cool.
Imagine getting pulled. Imagine being Clark and being in the middle of something and Amaya's like, come here, sit for a second, and hearing what's your favorite color.
Imagine being waiting out in front of like your kid's school and you're sitting there with the parents and all of a sudden one of the guys goes, hey, so like, what's your favorite color? You'd be like, what the fuck? Let alone like trying to distract someone and having to be like extra cool about it.
Oh, Evan and I were laughing so hard. That scene was all time. That was an iconic scene. Well, the other dynamic that we got going on is, of course, Nic and Olandria. And I mean, this man, he's like, hey, just straight up, I'm the most comfortable with you. I'm attracted to you. You bring out this manlier side for me, and I think I bring out a goofier side for you. And he's like, you know, are you open for connections? And she's like, yeah. And these two throughout this episode, they pull each other numerous times, and Nic like literally lays it on the line. And like we said in one of the past episodes,
Nic has always been just like, when I've never seen him look at anyone like that.
No, he is
it is crazy. When they had that one date where they went out, I was like, whoa. But you were like, oh, maybe it's nothing. And then now that they're back there, he even says, I'm nervous talking to you. Like, he is, I mean, I don't want to say in love, but I mean, like, if she allowed it, he would
like,
be
that is the most beautiful
barking
woman
like a dog
that
for her.
You know what I mean? That is the most beautiful woman that has ever walked the face of the planet.
Smitten. I mean, he's not like, listen, even if like with the whole Cierra thing, like if he found out, oh, I don't know, you whatever, you'd still be devastated, right? You'd still just be like, oh my God, I'm maybe in love with this person. But the fact that the fact that he's just looking at it more like, sweet, now Olandria is all mine. I mean, that just shows you how much this guy has been like, I guess she's the one that got away. You know what I mean? Which is kind of what it feels like.
Well, you know, like I mentioned last episode, I'm like, is she the Amal to his George Clooney? Like, he's the Playboy George Clooney, and like that is the woman, because he like worships, it feels like he worships the ground she walks on. Yes. And I want that for Olandria. Now, do I think Nic's maybe the best choice? No, because I think Nic's definitely
out of his league, but I appreciate.
I don't trust Nic, but maybe
I appreciate the infatuation.
But maybe maybe she's the Amal. Maybe she's that woman for him, where it's like, who
actually could change him.
This is a literal goddess in front of me. And
I'm so excited to see these next episodes about how it
happens. I know, me too. And so these two, and she's fully open to it.
Yeah.
And I think really for Olandria, the big block was Cierra and Taylor.
It was the respect issue.
She was like, I can't go there. I can't do this. And so now that that's not on the table anymore, she seems very open to being like, yeah, let's actually really give this a go. And I was like, oh,
he gives crazy love eyes to her.
God.
Not lust eyes.
No,
like
love eyes. Oh, Evan, I know.
He gave like lust eyes to like Bella. He gave lust eyes to other girls, but he's given like love eyes to her. Love Island eyes.
Well, then they find out that there's going to be a recoupling, and any guys who are single are going to be leaving the villa tonight because the women are in charge this time. Chelley chooses Ace, Clark chooses Taylor, Huda chooses Chris, Iris chooses Pepe, yes. Olandria chooses Nic instead of Zak, and she says in her speech, I've loved him from the moment I met him. And I was like, oh damn.
Like, obviously as a friend.
I know, but loved is a big word.
And
I don't know if you saw Ariana's face, but Ariana was like lit up.
Yeah.
She was like, well, Nic, look at you. I mean, it's like...
And I feel good about all these choices. I feel like Elan and Zak were the ones to go. So I didn't feel like there was any devastation. So Amaya ends up choosing
Bryan, which we were very very, very happy about.
I was a little nervous at the end. I was like, did Zak get in her ear?
I know.
You know, but Elan and Zak going, I felt like very good about. They were both... You know, Elan, I seemed like I liked him. He seemed like a nice guy. But again, there was just nothing happening. So it's like, got to let him go.
Yeah, I was very happy that Papaya chose Bryan. And, you know, I agree with you. The couples, I like the couples as they are right now. Which I feel like is now a good place for us to start to slowly wrap.
Yes.
And, you know, right before the end of this, Olandria you hear her say, it made me a little emotional, I'm not gonna lie. You and I both were getting a little emotional when she's like, maybe it was Nic this whole time. And I'm
this
like,
is like a rom-com or like, you know, a romantic movie.
But right before the end of this episode, America's asked to vote for their favorite couple.
Yes.
So I'm assuming we're going to have a couple getting kicked out of the villa.
Could be Chelley and Ace.
I would imagine it's either Chelley and Ace or Taylor and Clark.
Oh yeah, duh. Yeah, so those two.
Maybe they have more than one couple gets kicked out of the villa. Or we're starting to see like
I'd
voting
be okay, and I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm okay with Taylor and Clark leaving only because, in my personal opinion, they provide zero content. Like they just don't do anything.
Mellow. They're just very mellow
They just sit
together
there and like barely talk and just kind of every once in a while. So for me, it's like, at least for like, if you're gonna get rid of somebody, in my opinion, get rid of them because they don't provide any like entertainment. So
that's harsh.
I'm not trying to be a dick. I'm just saying that's kind of half the whole point is like interesting connections.
They're just very quiet.
They just kind of have been the same the whole time, just like how he was with even Olandria. It's like just nothing develops, and it's like, yeah, they're making out more. They seem to be more physically attracted to each other, but I'm not seeing any like anything new happening. It's just kind of like it's just like not good for TV. So it's just like, I wish you the best. But
I'm pretty convinced, and I think it seems somewhat obvious that whoever Amaya ends up with, she will win Love Island. There's no way.
Yeah, at this
Amaya,
point,
a papaya supremacy will reign, and Amaya,
she should keep all the money too. By the way, don't do 'cause they do the split thing, right? They can split.
I think so.
Is that this show? Just spacing now. But either way, she should win it all.
Amaya needs all the money.
If I was Bryan, give her all the cash. She deserves it.
Give her all the cash.
She's been here since day one, grinding it out, hit after hit. She deserves.
But
to win
I really
it all.
think she'll win,
I think so too.
regardless of if she's
whether that's like winning the actual,
if her and
thing.
Bryan even end up like in these couple episodes aren't connecting,
she deserves to be the last one standing.
I think the producers will keep her on somehow until the very end because they know she will win.
Yeah, I agree.
Whoever Amaya's with.
I agree. I'm actually sad it's ending.
I know, me too.
I'm like a little emotional about it.
I know, me too.
I'm excited for this next episode.
Yeah, that'll be nice. Anywho, family, we love you so very much. And tune in on Thursday for the Bachelor in Paradise recap, and tune in next Thursday for the Love Island finale. All right. See you in a couple days. Bye.